What is up, my viewers? Spank here, bringing you the third or fourth, whatever. Look up in that corner to know what installment of Ask Bang questions this is. The A.S.Q. Yes, I'm trying to play music in the background. Hopefully it's not overwhelming. I've did some testing, so it shouldn't be. But for those of you wondering why I don't just edit in music, I still haven't gotten around to, let's say getting a file converter, making my webcam videos compatible with Sony Vegas. Call it laziness, call it technical difficulties, but yes, I mean, at the same time, I think it takes a little more skill to kind of be consistent, to do sort of a ongoing sort of thing without just going back and doing editing, doing multiple takes. Now, maybe I'm bashing Philly D and Ray William Johnson, maybe not. You can take it for what it is. Honestly, it does take more work to go back and edit, but yeah, I've stalled for long enough, so let's get to your questions. Two of you asked a lot of questions this time. Not just two of you, but they're back of your head, which I think is Never Aim, if I recall correctly. Then there's Epic Tuba, which I can't recall who he is in game, but the two of them kind of planned this whole assault of questions. So first question is from back of your head. What state do you live in? Currently, I live in Arkansas. I'm stationed at Little Rock Air Force Base here in Arkansas as part of my job in the Air Force. So that's a pretty straightforward question. I'm not going to elaborate much more on that one. Epic Tuba says, we saw you were a flight sergeant. I'm not a sergeant, I'm just a senior airman in E4. I might want to turn down music for this part. Come on! Okay, enough ridiculousness. Unless you guys like the ridiculousness. But, second, back to what I was saying. I'm not a sergeant, I'm just a lowly senior airman in E4, though I should be testing for a staff sergeant come August, maybe? September, sometime in the fall. If everything goes well, I should be testing for sergeant. But what is my job in the Air Force, he asks, and I'm a flight mechanic. I fix engines on C-130s. If you don't know what that is, have you never played Call of Duty? In all seriousness, the C-130, if you do not know what it is a cargo plane. It is pretty much the backbone of the U.S. Air Force, the backbone of the U.S. military when it comes to flight transportation. And I am very proud to be working on it. It's an old plane, but it does its job very well. And if you are familiar with the AC-130, we put some guns on it every now and again and decide to blow things up. Also, if you're wondering why I selected the song, it is because it is awesome. That is all you have to know. Back of your head comes back around with another question saying, have you ever seen a real tank being driven and maybe even seen it shooting? Not in real life. No, I have not. I'm not in the Army. I have a friend who is in the Army who works on the M1 Abrams. Maybe I should talk to him about that and then take video of it and upload it to my channel. Maybe. Okay, you guys gave me an idea. That may come to my channel, not anytime in the near future, but maybe eventually. You know, get some, talk to my friend in the Army a bit and say, hey, what would be the chances of me visiting your base sometime and you giving me a bit of a tour? Maybe take me to the firing range? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how realistic that is, but I can try. I'll keep you guys appraised of any updates on that, but don't hold your breath. Now, Epic Tuba comes around with another question saying, what is your favorite kind of snack? Kind of random, but I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite snack. I eat what's around. Pickles? I don't know. I eat noobs. How's that for a good... My favorite snack is noobs. How's that for an answer? Back of your head comes back around with another question saying, who do you look up to in the World of Tanks community? Unlike you guys, I'm not really that involved in the World of Tanks community. All I know is who I come across in the game and who talks to me. And that basically comes down to you guys. I'm not that famous in the community either, so I don't have any big names talking to me. I don't look at the leaderboard, so I don't know who's up there. So I don't really look up to anyone. So I kind of just teach myself my tactics. I learn from how I play. I learn from watching other people in the game. So I don't really look up to any of the big name players. I don't even know who they are. But I don't know, it would kind of be cool to meet them, I suppose, and talk with them and get insight into how they are at the top of leaderboards. What are their favorite type of strategies, how they, to actually get some of their replays and see how they play. What what kind of skills they have, what kind of actions they take depending on the circumstances. So I don't know if you guys follow them, if you guys talk with any of those big name players, of any of those big names in the World of Tanks community, maybe you could send them my way? Maybe? I don't know. Now, next question, again from Epic Tuba, is, yeah, we planned this out. Okay, that wasn't a question, that was a statement. But, regardless, the killer, yes, back of your, okay. Apparently, Epic Tuba is the killer dude. If I had read ahead on my comments, I would have known that. I did read these comments beforehand. And by beforehand, I mean like a week ago. So don't hate me too much. Epic Tuba saying, we love you. I love you too. And Patchit too, finally, someone else asking a question. Saying, have you tried War Thunder, or are you willing to commentate replays from that game? I have not tried War Thunder. I'm sorry, but World of Tanks and my job and other commitments take up all my free time. I'm not opposed to trying the game, but if I expand my horizons into that game, if I find the time, I'll definitely let you guys know, and you will see an update video saying, hey, I'm playing War Thunder now. You should send me replays for that. But at the moment, my World of Tanks content keeps me thoroughly invested in my channel. So I wouldn't say anytime in the near future. Maybe if I retire from the Air Force in the next few years, or I don't know, maybe get an easier, less time-consuming job in the Air Force than mechanic. But who knows? When my commitment, I have the opportunity to get out of the Air Force in about 2 years. That is when my enlistment is up. That is when I can retire at 6 years of service and say, I'm done. And I don't see that happening. I really don't. But let's say, theoretically, hypothetically, I do. And at that point, I have enough subscribers where I'm making a living off my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel is my job. Sure. Why not? Then I'll do War Thunder. How about that? That's all hypothetical. That's probably not going to happen. But I figured I'd at least go down that rabbit hole. And finally, Vietnamese, well, not finally, but second to last, Vietnamese says, if you could remove any tank in the game and remove it with another one, I think what he means is replace it with another one. Which one should it be, or would it be? I'm wrong. This wasn't the second to last. This is the third to last? No, I'm way wrong. Ignore what I say about the order of comments. What tank do I hate the most? What tank do I absolutely hate? Honestly, okay, I think I know what it would be. I don't know what I'd replace it with, but I would remove, or at least rebalance, the AMX 155 FOC 50, or whatever it is, the Tier 10 French Tank Destroyer. I hate that thing with a passion, simply because it has a 3-round clip for 850 damage apiece per shot, okay? That's not fair. I don't care how long its reload rate on its clip is. That's just not fair. And if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments why, but seriously, I don't know how to replace it with. Maybe just, I'd hate to say insert generic tank destroyer here. But the reason I don't know what I would replace it with is because, honestly, I'm not that familiar with all that many historical tanks. I'm familiar with the common ones like the Tiger and the Sherman. But besides that, World of Tanks has really been my exposure. It has opened my eyes to how many historic tanks were in development. Before this game, I had no idea there were so many tanks that were ever even conceived. So this game has been an educational experience for me, I suppose. But I'm sorry I don't know what to replace it with. But yeah, remove that Tier 10 Frank. Yeah, the Tier 10 French Tank Destroyer. Again, if you don't like me for that, sorry. Derpy Hooves asks, are you a World of Warplanes? Again, enough shenanigans. But am I a beta tester for World of Warplanes? I am not. Again, I could have put in for the beta, I suppose, just as anyone else could have. But again, I don't have that much free time. And what time I do have is, I suppose, spent relaxing and decompressing. I'm exhausted at the end of a long day, and honestly, doing commentaries does help me to relax a bit, but it's also kind of like a second job. So I only have so many hours in a day, and then again, it comes down to free time. Not enough. So that answers that question. And Gregor Eskater which he did tell me how to properly pronounce that. I think he also told me what his name was, like, in the game, but I can't remember. Again, I can't remember. But he asks if I think artillery is overpowered, and if I have any suggestions to nerf it, if I think it is overpowered, and if I think Wargaming should take it out of World of Tanks altogether. First of all, I think in a capacity, it is overpowered. Let's put this into perspective. Ever since I have started keeping track of how many tanks I one-shot in my GW Type E, well, first, let me start off. There is a strategy to one-shotting tanks. There is a significant... You aim for the very top point on a tank, the top of their turret. At least this is what I do. That way, sure, your chances of getting a hit kind of go down, but if you hit exactly where you aim, you're going through their top turret armor, doing your maximum damage. So it's kind of a risk-reward sort of thing. You know, your risk of missing is so much greater, but your reward, if you hit exactly where you aim, is a near one-shot, if not a one-shot. So, in that capacity, I think artillery is horribly overpowered. I have one-shot Yog Tigers, or Yog Tigers, or Jag Tigers, however you pronounce it. It's properly pronounced Yog Tigers, because that's how the Germans say it. I looked this up. Me and my friend had a debate about it. Don't argue with me. It's Yog Tiger. So, but I've one-shot so many of those. I've one-shot quite a few tanks in my Type E, and I don't think any tank should be one-shottable short of an ammo rack. So artillery in that capacity is overpowered. I don't know how they could limit that. Maybe give them better, maybe give tanks better top armor so that doesn't happen. Or maybe, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with the intricate mechanics of this game's artillery, exactly how it operates, but I think they should fix that at least in some capacity. One of my friends also suggested, and I'm kind of partial to this as well, what was it, 8.3 they changed the splash radius, reduced it? I think that was backwards. And so does my friend. My friend I'm referring to is Tank 677, and we both agree that maybe they should nerf the damage. They should maybe tone down the damage bit, make Artie a little less of a, oh my god, I just got struck by lightning from Zeus himself, and more of a splash effect, area of effect weapon, where you fire at a concentration of tanks and you damage multiple of them for like 200, 300, 400, and a decent radius, whereas opposed to hitting one tank and doing like 700 to 1500 damage to it and nearly killing it in one hit. So maybe make them more of an area of an effect weapon. I think that would work rather well. But I do not think, in any capacity, I do not believe that Wargaming should remove it from the game. Honestly, I think it adds an entirely new dimension to it, and I think World of Tanks would be worse off without artillery. Honestly, I like what artillery does. I like it how it affords your team to have support at any point on the map if your artillery is properly positioned. There are so many times where the enemy thinks I'm alone, and in terms of tanks and tank destroyers, I am alone. But I'm spotting for artillery, and so the enemy, thinking I am completely vulnerable to them, I suppose, rushes me, and then artillery lobs shells at them and makes it, actually turns the tide in our favor, and I love that. I love that sort of fire support that you get from artillery, and I think sure, I like my matches every now and again without artillery, but I would say keep them in the game overall. So maybe, yeah, I say adjust artillery the way I suggested, maybe, but at the same time, I do not think they should be removed. I love artillery. I have 2 tier 6s and 1 tier 8. Of course I love artillery. My first tank I ever maxed out was my German GW Type E. That was the first high tier vehicle I ever got. And after that, I started, well, I got my GW Tiger, then I started working on my American line, but I still have my Type E long before I had my tier 10 heavy tank in the American line, so yeah. And now the final question, which is from, who is it now? Jaeger Thomas asks, does anyone play War Thunder? Apparently not. I don't. If you guys do, you can comment in here saying, I do, and he can look in the comments and find out who it is, and you guys can talk and have all sorts of fun together. But that pretty much concludes it for this round of Ask Bang questions, the A.S.Q, whatever round it is, which is, hold on, let me pull up my Logitech camera, because I was looking at questions right there. Right there, yeah, it should say what round this is. So, yeah. that concludes this round. Be on the lookout very shortly for the submissions video for the next round. And have your questions ready. Again, I've opened this up to anything. I will answer your questions to the best of my ability. And hopefully any new subscribers that catch this video and didn't catch last submissions can catch this next round of submissions. I always feel weird. I'm going to open up to you guys a little right here. I always feel weird doing these videos because I feel really self-centered. I feel very egocentric. I feel like I'm making a big deal about myself when I'm completely not a big deal at all. But honestly, the reason I did this was because some of you guys were asking personal questions in my commentaries, in the comment sections of my commentary videos. So I'm like, why not just make a video response to this? Make it more personal. So again, if you like this series and you want to see more of it, just hit that like, there we go, that like button. And chances are pretty good if you're watching this, you're one of my subscribers. So I won't tell you to subscribe. It's probably been a while since you've heard that. And if you, just be on the lookout for the next round. Until then, this has been Spang, and I am signing off if I can find the button.